I'd like to call this meeting of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners to order at this time. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Present.
Commissioner Brown. Here. Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Present.
Commissioner Kuzno,
Here.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Here.
and Commissioner Flewelling.
Present.
All right. At this time, we'll have our invocation by Commissioner James Avery, and then after which we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, shall we pray? Gracious Father, first of all, we thank you for this day. Thank you, Lord, for your traveling grace, allowing us to arrive here safely. We pray the same as we leave. Ask, Lord, that you will guide us in our decisions and whether we'll follow the vision that you have for this great county. We thank you for our constituents, and we thank you for our members of this board as they dedicate their time to doing the best we can for this county. In Jesus Christ's name I pray, amen.
Amen. Tonight, our first order of business is our meeting minutes from the previous meeting. What is your pleasure?
Move them.
Been moved by Commissioner Flewelling, supported by Commissioner Shoemaker. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now we come to our public speaking portion of our agenda tonight. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak. There will be an indication that you will hear audibly once the 2 minutes are up. Please approach the podium and state your name and your city, township, or village of residency. Yes, sir.
Hopefully you won't start now, because my name is Brad Shoemaker. I address this historic body. I was former Mundy Township Board, Flint Township Supervisor, and 12 years I was Clayton Township Supervisor. And I in no way, shape, or form will do anything to denigrate this body in the information I would like to give you. It is just to inform you and your constituents of a situation that is appearing. So I hope that you'll take no offense. It's just that I've always stood for the taxpayer, and I'm proud of that. And I'd like to read, if I could, Mr. Chairman, the following information that was conveyed to me by the treasurer of Clayton Township. People in Swartz Creek and Mundy Township have been asking for transparency. Well, how about Clayton Township? Perhaps Clayton Township is hiding the fact that their elected supervisor, who collects a full-time position salary.
You can just raise this up. So
That's not my time.
no, I'm just raising up so that we can hear you.
I'm losing time.
No, we'll give it back to you.
We're okay?
Yes. Your 2 minutes just started over. Go ahead.
Collects a
Apologies.
full-time position salary of $42,000. Also collects a full-time position salary as building inspector and head of the building department of Clayton Township, $55,000. He also collects payment for zoning inspection, $10,000, and $10,000 code enforcement. How can one man have and be paid for 2 full-time positions and 3 part-time positions, $117,000 a year? It's ridiculous for a township of 7,500. Oh yes, this year's budget also includes a raise for the building inspector, $5,000, and the deputy for $5,000. That supervisor at $170,000 a year with no raise will cost the taxpayers of Clayton Township $468,000. Total received by that supervisor, $468,000, plus that supervisor has added a deputy supervisor receiving $20,000 a year. Supervisor and deputy, grand total for 4 years, $548,000, well over $500,000. That information was provided by Clayton Township official. Quite the retirement plan. Also, after that supervisor lost his reelection for this historic body, his compensation as building official for Clayton Township was doubled. I want to thank you for your attention. Hopefully anybody that knows me, because of the will of the God and the people, I was able to serve for 24 years. I even reduced my wages while Flint Township Supervisor. It should always be of and for. And thank you for letting me provide this information so that maybe others will know of it, because to me, it is truthfully an affront to the taxpayers and the voters of Clayton Township. Thank you so much. I appreciate what you do, and I want to tell you, staff has been wonderful, and I'm really proud. They always say it starts from the top. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
allowing me
much.
that time too, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for speaking tonight and sharing with us. Any additional speakers? Please state your name and city, township, village of residency.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth Jordan. I live in the city of Flint, but I'm here tonight in the role of Chair of the Genesee County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. My purpose in coming here this evening was just to briefly share a little bit of background information. I know that some of the discussions you may be having tonight concern the appointment process, and so I just wanted to have a chance to share with you a little about what our process has been, so that you can have that available to you as you deliberate. I think it's important to understand that the process that we've used in terms of the actual application itself and the ways that we review it mirror very closely the standard process that the county has. In fact, we started with the application online that the county has. The only change that we made to it was that we added a couple of questions that get at the background and qualifications for that particular role. So that's, I think, useful to perhaps understand. And also to realize that we have adopted the county's overall process for how those opportunities to apply are publicized. And so that includes that the application appears on the county's website under the section where appointments are advertised, as well as shared through Facebook, through the county page, as well as shared through the different county departments. So the same process has been used for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission, as was used for the county appointments overall. And I'm proud to say that when we had our most recent set of vacancies this past spring, we had 2 community positions and 1 staff position available to apply for. We had a really robust group of 15 applicants, and those applications came from across the county. So we had folks applying from Swartz Creek, Fenton, Davison, Flint, Mundy Township, Grand Blanc, and more. And I'd be happy at a future meeting to have a chance to update you on the content of what we've been working on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any additional speakers? Any additional speakers tonight? Any additional speakers tonight? All right, public comment is now closed. Now that brings us to our communications. Any communications tonight? All right, now we have our appointments. Resolution 2025-2635, approval of 1 appointment to the Genesee County Road Commission for a partial term expiring on 12/31/2027. At our last meeting, 2 candidates made it to the final 2 candidates, and we're picking up where we left off. Those candidates are Denise Smith-Allen, Dr. Denise Smith-Allen, and Frederick Caruso. What is your pleasure? Oh, to our appointments committee chair.
If we would, let's get a motion and a second, and we'll discuss this and start working on this, because, well, then here's the problem. Let's start with this. As most of our board is aware, at our last meeting on October 29th, the process took place where we've nominated candidates, and we took the 2 highest vote-getting candidates, and we were at a deadlock. At that time, we also had information brought forth that there might be conflicting offices. We'd asked direction from Corporation Counsel. At the time, we didn't feel that, the Corporation Counsel didn't feel it was our responsibility to take action at that. Since that point, if we would, please pass this out. I received a letter, oops, thank you, from Mr. Caruso. If I could, when Mr. Freeman gets done, I'm going to have him read it into the record from that standpoint. But to move forward with this, to not hold it up while he's handing those out, he believes and had did his own research that this is an incompatible position because he's not willing to give up his deputy supervisor position. So, that being said, and now that, you want to read that in real quick, his letter, if you would, please? If it's okay with this body, that Mr. Freeman would read this into the record.
Commissioner Shoemaker, please accept this letter as my request to remove my name from consideration for the open position on the Genesee County Road Commission. I'm a little concerned that during the initial appointment process, the county attorney removed some of the candidates that were deemed ineligible but held the opinion that I was eligible to serve on the commission. That opinion allowed me to become one of the top 2 vote getters in the first round of voting and moved on to the tie vote after 4 rounds of voting. The attorney had given the board what he later contended is the correct legal opinion. I should never have been allowed to have been considered in the first round, and one of the other candidates would have become one of the top 2 vote getters. My point to all of this is that I would urge you and the rest of the board to restart this appointment process from the beginning and do what I think would be the fair thing to do with regard to the candidate who was denied the opportunity to be one of the top 2 vote getters in the first round of the initial voting. You may want to have your attorney research whether failure to do this would open the board to legal action from one of the wrongfully affected candidates. I thank you for your service. To the residents of Genesee County, Frederick C. Caruso.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. It's greatly appreciated. That being stated, this board has a decision to make. How do we move forward? It's not in our appointment bylaws or rules. I've talked to several of you trying to see what your pleasure is, but I'm going to leave it open to everyone on the board to kind of express their opinion, how they would like this to move forward now that we have Mr. Caruso's withdrawal of his name. So if anybody wants to speak, I will let them speak, and then I'll be glad to add my opinion afterwards if it's okay with the board.
All right, is there any comments or discussion? What I think we should do is, maybe we should, before we get into a debate on this, maybe we should move this item for discussion and then take action from there. Because normally we wouldn't debate somebody.
If it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we discuss this.
Okay, any support?
Board.
All right, been moved by Commissioner Cousineau, supported by Commissioner Flewelly. All right, so now discussion, any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to get the county attorney's opinion as it was stated in the letter.
Corporation Counsel.
Thank you. I did not receive the letter. The first I heard about the letter was about 2.5 minutes ago. I heard it read. Commissioner Avery was nice enough to let me read it. I haven't had a chance to read it. But what is the specific question you have?
He wanted to know whether failure to open it back up, or either way, would it open the board up to some legal action?
Again, I'm just getting this question right now, but I can't think of any reason off the top of my head why whatever direction this board was to take, I don't think it would open the board up to legal action. This really isn't a legal question about who would be eligible to be voted upon. That's more of a policy procedure question that can be answered by a majority vote of this board, whether you wanted to open it up back to everybody or limit it to 2, or it's the pleasure of the board. It's not really a legal question. So I don't see there being any liability to this board one way or the other.
Or would that expose us to the other candidate who remains as a finalist?
If you were to open up the
Yes.
candidacy, again, off the top of my head, maybe I don't want to give an answer without doing research, but I mean, I don't think this is a legal question. This is more of a procedure or policy question of this board and how it wants to conduct its elections.
Yeah, I believe, Mr. Chairman, in my opinion, that the policy that this board voted on in terms of appointments was that, you know, we followed that process and we narrowed it down to the two candidates, who I believe this board felt were equally qualified to fill the position, you know, just based on the vote. Now one of the candidates has declared himself ineligible, so I believe that just leaves that one person that we can vote on to assume that position.
Again, without doing legal research, my opinion is that this would not open up the board to any legal liability, one way or the other.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Kuzno.
may I make a motion to proceed at this point in time, or you want to have discussion longer?
It's the will of the body. There's a motion on the table. You certainly can make a substitute motion at this time. It will be in order if that's your pleasure.
Okay, I would like to move that we start over from the beginning with all the remaining candidates and vote.
I'd support that.
So it's been moved by Commissioner Cousineau and supported by Commissioner Getzinger. I just want to be clear on the motion. You said to start over from what point?
From last week, considering all the names that were presented to us, minus Mr. Caruso, because people that voted for him might have voted something different.
So in essence, we'd be,
In fairness to the other people, I think that that would be the most appropriate way for us to proceed.
so to be clear on your motion is that we would start at the nomination process, start back, and those that were nominated minus the person who withdrew be on the table, and then we would start the voting over. Is that?
Yes,
Am I
that's
being
what
clear?
I'm saying. Thank
Okay.
you.
Is there, so that substitute motion's been moved and supported, that's a proper motion. Is there any discussion on now the motion that has been made?
I'll support this, but I do have a question. Have we vetted the other candidates to make sure they're eligible? Who's done that? So the point I'm trying to make is that we don't want to be in the same position. I think we don't have a strong vetting process. We've seen this over and over. So I'm willing to support Commissioner Cousineau's motion and Gary's second, but we want to make sure that we have eligible candidates. And I don't know that we have a mechanism for doing that at all. We don't have people reading through the applications that are either on staff or on commission and coming together to say, this could be problematic. So, am I wrong? I think I'm right. So I'll just say that, and if it comes to a vote, I'll vote for it. And the other thing is, I don't have the names in front of me. Does anyone? We do? Okay, all right. All right, I'm speaking in favor of the motion with that point. And I'll just say, Commissioner Shoemaker already knows this, but I'm going to bring some amendments to the appointments policy so we can improve upon it and make sure that we have a vetting system that we can all look at and vote upon, not tonight, but eventually.
All right, Commissioner Flewelly.
So I wonder if I may make an amendment to that motion.
An amendment to his substitute motion would be improper
Okay.
at this time by way of Robert's Rules of Order. So we would need to take action on his motion, go back to the original motion. If he withdrew, then there could be another, but there can't be two substitutes. Any additional discussion?
He does have the right to discuss it before he would make the amendment, though.
So I guess,
Correct.
yeah,
Yes.
okay, that's fair. So I guess my discussion would be, if we're going to, as Commissioner Wayhill just pointed out, if we're going to go back to the beginning of the original applicant list and have maybe some concerns about eligibility and vetting, I feel like it would behoove us to start that process again, keep the applicants that we have, open up the process again for new applicants, and have the appointment committee screen, not just for the road commission appointment, but for all appointments to ensure they're eligible. And to go back through Once those applications are received, they're forwarded to the appointments committee and have them vet them. Do they reside in a township? Do they reside in a city? Do they have an incompatible office potentially? And go from there. That would be my next step, were this not to go through.
Any additional discussion? Anybody who hasn't spoken? All right, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we grow through this process and learn from it, some of these things Commissioner Winfrey and I have brought up before, so it's not like it's a surprise to us. And as you remember from the past meeting, I stated there were several people applied, like for the road commission, that lived in a city that weren't allowed to, that shouldn't have been allowed to make it through the next phase. And as I spoke to Commissioner Wayhill, I welcome and look forward to work with him on trying to narrow this down. But we went off of advice. I had spoken to Mr. Caruso before this. I knew he had the other office, and that's why when Dr. Brown was kind enough to bring it up, we discussed it. We moved forward as a board believing we were in the right to do so. Obviously, now we're finding out. We had met Commissioner Flewelly had brought this up, that he was concerned about it also afterwards, so we'd met with Corporation Counsel. They were nice enough and kind enough to kind of fill us in on some other portions of it, and we've realized this is an incompatible office. In the meantime, though, Mr. Caruso had decided to do his own research, and he realized it was also an incompatible office and withdrew. So does it need to be vetted a little more? Yes, but there also needs to be some accountability for things we do say in the appointment committee meetings, things we ask for that need to be done, even though they're not in writing, they should be done. You know, I had texted an employee here in the evening one night, because I had actually did the mapping of where these employees were, and I found out that, guess what? 2 of them did not qualify because they actually lived in the city of Flint. But those are things that were part of what Charles and I had talked about that shouldn't even made it this far. And Del Rico also sits on the board with us. And so these are some of the things that need to be done, and we need to hold people accountable when they're not done. But I look forward to what Dale's doing. As far as my opinion, whether it starts over or not, it's going to be up to this body, because I chair this committee, and I take it very personally, because I think we've made some strides with the way we do this. We were getting one name for an appointment before, now we're getting tons, but we still have to move forward and improve. And even though this has not gone the way I would like it to as far as smooth, we're still getting better. And I'm happy with this board, because I believe that's the end goal, is to get better, to make sure we're doing things the right way. So whichever this body decides, you know, is fine. It'd be nice to have weeded them out to begin with, but at this point, like I said, I'm gonna withdraw any of my opinion on either motion moving forward with this right now. But I would ask this, though, because I do know we had an appointment from the floor, that name also be out there, because I don't think it's on this actual list, so.
It is not.
Okay. And I do believe that individual was the 3rd highest vote getter
Yes.
when we went around, so they probably would have been the nominee either way if we'd have known Mr. Caruso wasn't capable, or it could have just passed with Ms. Smith Allen, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be voting against any delay. I think in following any democratic process, if any candidate bows out or dies out or whatever, you know, looking back at electoral history, if there are 2 candidates in the November election or in the primary and one of them passes away, the other one automatically gets the seat. You know, I believe in that process, and in my opinion, there's only one eligible candidate for this position since Mr. Caruso bowed out. And I'll be voting no on any other type of arrangement.
All right, any additional discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
To answer Charles's question, or to kind of respond to that, and I don't know what this body's position is, but in a primary, are allowed write-ins. So if people wanted to vote otherwise, they're allowed to. On this board, they're allowed to actually abstain from even voting if they didn't want to vote. so they don't have to vote. So this necessarily doesn't even have to pass. You can vote your conscience, Charles. I think the pleasure of the board is to vote tonight. I think that's what it is. That doesn't mean it's gonna, be just one candidate, but I think it's a pleasure of the board to vote tonight. I would encourage, like I said, everyone to just vote their conscience, and we'll move forward with this and get going. So, but like I said, you have the right one, because we checked this out with Corporation Counsel, and Brian was kind enough to get with us. You do have even the right to, if you didn't want to vote for it, to abstain from it. So, if you didn't feel there was somebody qualified, so. And we need 5 votes so everybody knows to actually move this individual forward. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Charles, for being so passionate about it. I appreciate it. And he and Del Rico both have really worked hard on this appointment committee, and Mr. Freeman's worked hard on it. Like I said, we've just got some fine tuning to do.
Commissioner Flewelly.
So I absolutely respect everybody's opinion on this board. The direction that I approach it from is I believe that we should seek out and appoint the most qualified applicants to all positions. I think we owe it to our constituents, and now if Ms. Smith Allen is the most qualified, then she'll get the votes to win. If not, if we reengage in the process, I hope that we would find the most qualified people for any board, any authority that we appoint to. Thank you.
All right. Any additional discussion? Commissioner
Sorry,
Shoemaker.
just real quick, could we get the name of the individual who was nominated, though, additionally, just for our list?
Which
From the floor, the nominee from the floor, so everybody
Yep,
knows.
that was Keith Piles,
Piles.
Pyles.
And that is correct. He did stand nominated as well previously. So right now, we're voting on that substitute, the secondary motion, which is to begin voting at the nominations. So if you vote yes for this, then nominations will reopen with all original nominated candidates except for Mr. Frederick Caruso, and then we'll proceed from there. A no vote on this motion would be to vote not to go back to the nomination process.
One more
Commissioner
quick
Flewelly.
question. There was 2 names, I believe, on here that live in cities.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
So I'd like to clarify those before we move forward. One was Dennis Kramer. I don't know who the other one was.
Myron Henderson?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I do have discussion before we vote, because we've talked about this before. Appointments committee, I remember maybe even have some discussion here, is that the nominated candidates, we're going to be vetted to see if they meet the qualifications. And I think when we put these positions out for individuals to apply, there's a set of qualifications that are communicated. Is that correct? So it's residency, it's, it may be age if it's 18 or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
So it's my understanding that that takes place. Is that correct?
Yes.
The second part of this was that we did meet, and individuals who didn't meet those qualifications. Now, I know that when we talk about Caruso, there's the qualification that the law has, which wouldn't be in that policy. But I know that in our meeting, I'm one to raise it to say, hey, if we have an individual whose name comes up that's not qualified, there will be an asterisk next to them or something, and with some note. That has not been reflected here in this process. So we wouldn't have known who is qualified or not, I'm saying, based on our appointment criteria, residency, and that kind of thing. So it's important that, our office, whoever is receiving those, not putting on the shoulders of anybody here, but it's important that whoever's receiving those and passing those on to us, even prior to a policy change, that they're looking at that criteria and flagging the individuals who are not eligible. I'm talking about the qualifications, particularly in our policy, so that when they come to us, we know who those individuals are. The other concern that was raised, I think, during this discussion, because I raised it as, we have a great board, we work well together, we're very productive, and we perform. Not having a situation where a person doesn't meet the qualification and that name never comes before us, because there may be a commissioner who's looking for a certain name to come through. And so now it's a subcommittee who's gotten rid of that name and that kind of thing. That's just my own perspective, but at minimum, having a flag there so we know why and who, so that we don't end up, you know, in a similar situation with other appointments. So I just wanted to say that, because that should be happening. It's not, it may be a missing in the process, but it's certainly something that we discussed that we want to make sure happens. So I've added additional discussion. Is there additional discussion beyond that? If not, we'll vote on the substitute motion, which is to start back at nominations and then move forward to the rounds of voting. All right, seeing no additional discussion, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right, motion passes. All right, so that brings us back to the nominations. You've passed out the names of those. Matter of fact, I'll go back to our Appointments Committee Chair to read off those that are nominated.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. As of right now, we have Bridget Beasley, Denise Allen. Was there a name that needed to be corrected? Smith? No. And that, was there a name that needed to be corrected on here? Yeah. It was on GDL. Okay, thank you for reminding me that. Mr. Caruso and Dennis Kramer are out. Jolena Sanders Sims. Let me see if I can slay this. Kenya. Kenya. You want to help me with the last name, Mrs.? Dr. Brown? What was that?
I think it's Magahi.
Magagahi. Okay. Monica Shapiro, Thomas Stevens, and Keith Pyle.
All right, thank you, sir. So those that stand nominated are nominees number 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, excluding 3 and 4. All right, there's no additional discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Did I miss somebody? Oh, and Mr. Piles.
Should be 7, 9, 10.
All right? All right, so with that said, roll call, Madam Clerk. This is individual votes.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Denise Allen.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Denise Allen.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Keith Piles.
Commissioner Brown,
Allen.
Commissioner Avery,
Allen.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Piles.
Commissioner Kuzno,
Isles.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Dr. Denise Smith Allen.
and Commissioner Flewelling.
Piles.
I have 5 for Allen and 4 for Piles.
All right, Denise Allen stands appointed for 1 year expiring 12/31/27 to the Genesee County Road Commission. All right, next on our agenda, we have reports of the standing committees, beginning with the Appointments Committee. I'm going to defer at this time to Commissioner Shoemaker.
Okay. I would like, I will move Resolution 2025-2650, approval of a proposed resolution to clarify appointments to the Genesee County Road Commission.
All right, been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Wayhill. All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. Mr. Shoemaker.
Resolution 2025-2651, approval of a proposed resolution to update appointment process for the Genesee County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission.
All right, moved by Commissioner Shoemaker. Any support? Supported by Commissioner Avery. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Winfrey.
I support the resolution. However, I would like to include language that the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission utilizes in their application process to be included in this process. And those are questions that have to do with commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
All right, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, all of our applications have the statement that was added by Commissioner Winfrey, requested from the DEI committee, that states their commitment to DEI and their other, how they feel about it and where they are about it. It's already on all of our appointments paperwork. Is that what you're asking for, Charles, so I understand?
No, I think that, that they basically utilizes the board's application process, but they added a couple sentences that were germane, to their process. I think Mr. Threlkel would have that specific language that they would like to include.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you for that. My question is this, and I'm sorry for last week when I get so passionate about it, but all of our board appointments are done the same way, and we're trying to make this one the same. And now we're still looking for preferential treatment for this one board. And I guess that's where I have my problem. I would like to know, just for my knowledge now, what the sentences or the questions are. But the fact is I've sat on this commission. I took flack because I didn't go to meetings. But I also took flack because guess what? They passed 2 resolutions that were brought to this board before that, to the point where somebody tried to cost me my job, said ridiculous things to my wife. My kids had to deal with it. And then all of a sudden the motions start coming forward where we're honoring other people. And it's still not what I believe it is. And what frustrates me with this, for as much as we talk DEI, there's a seat sitting available that's my seat that not one single person on this board is taken advantage of. So how much do you really care for it? How important it is that no one's taking it? I took tons of flack because I don't go, because guess what? I don't see it. I think it's the divider of people. I'm copyrighting this phrase. I think it's dividing everyone intentionally. Because we are one people. We are a great nation. We are good people. Yes, we make mistakes. We have flaws. And we're continuing to make progress. When you watch children and you watch young people, they are more united than we give ourselves credit for. But the fact is with this, I want it to be the same process across the board. None of our boards should be any different, from parks to DEI to any of the other boards that sit under this board as far as the way we process it. And on top of it, Charles, you and I spoke on this. What is upsetting me, there's no conservatives on that board, and they're appointing their own board members. So how are you going to get anybody? Because my gripe was, guess what? Why do I want to show where I'm the minority? And truthfully, and other than the young lady who's here, I get looked at every time I walk in there, and I would walk in there like I was, other than you, Charles, because you always treat me nice, and I love you for that. But the fact is this. To be inclusive, and you got one of your commissioners walking in there, and this young lady back here, and Charles, the only one, it's not comfortable. And Charles brought up the point, because I was griping about it, that guess what, you're not there. Well, guess what? We can't get people on this board to be there. Ellen Ellenberg, when she was chair, didn't show. So how important is it to everybody on this board? And all I'm trying to do with this simple resolution, not to ramble on, and I apologize, but I'm very upset with this because I took a lot of flack over it, is I just want to make it like every other board appointment. It still has the DEI stuff in there, and I don't know if the chair of the DEI knows what the questions are that we don't have on ours, and it might be something very simple that, guess what, no one on the board would have a problem with. But before we move forward, if she does, she could come up and state those, or if somebody else knows what they are.
Yeah, I can call her up here in shortly. A little bit more discussion, if that's okay. Commissioner Flewellen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question for maybe you or Mr. Freeman. Are there any other affiliated boards that we appoint members to now that have at any point in the past appointed their own members other than this one?
I can't think of anything else.
So this is the only board that we're affiliated with that's ever appointed their own members?
To my knowledge.
If I may, I normally wait to the end of the discussion and then jump in, but if it's okay, I'd like to jump in. At our last meeting, thank you for the comments made. At our last meeting, there was a request that Commissioner Winfrey raised that before we proceed with this resolution, that there be some conversation with the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission's leadership. And so I committed to do that, ask Commissioner Winfrey to be a part of that. Commissioner Winfrey, Commissioner Shoemaker currently sits on the DEI Commission and represents our board. It is true that there's a secondary seat.
Did I hear him?
Did I say Cousineau or did I say Shoemaker?
You said Shoemaker, so I just want to keep Winfrey, currently sits on the DEI.
Winfrey sits on it. And the second seat, so the Board of Commission We do have representation on that board, as Commissioner Winfrey. We do have the seat that you previously sat in, that there hasn't been appointment to. But I will say this on behalf of the entire Board of Commission. Our commission is dividing, and well, I don't want to say dividing and conquering, but we are serving on boards across the county, commissions across the county, and I'm comfortable and confident that we have representation there, and there's an additional space for another commissioner to serve if someone ultimately does. So I met with I just want to clarify that. So we did meet with the leadership of DEI Commission today, earlier this afternoon, to share that this resolution will be coming. Certainly shared that the rationale is solely about having all commissions which represent Genesee County, serving on behalf of this body, go through the same appointment process that this board has followed. It was an excellent meeting. And one of the things that came out when the question was asked by me to the leader of the DEI Commission, was there any perspective, any suggestions, any concerns? And what was raised was, just like we've done with the opioid committee or commission, where as a part of that resolution, we had different demographics, where there was a seat for this demographic, seat for this demographic, and then there were general seats. What was suggested by Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan was that we consider what they already have in their process along those same lines. So as a part of the DEI Commission, as they had, by resolution, they had been allowed, it was illegal for them to make their own appointments, so they were following approved policy by this board and making their own appointments, which is a good thing. They followed the policy, but as a part of them kind of putting together their own process, prior to us having this appointment process, they then identified different demographics and were ensuring they have representation from those different spaces. So what I think, Commissioner Winfrey, if it's okay, just in the fairness of time and fairness to the commission, I think it'd probably be good if we can get that from Mrs. Jordan. She's already committed to provide that to us so that we can get that before our Governmental Operations Committee, so that we can debate it in committee, bring it to the board, and then take action on whether or not we want to establish, I guess I'm saying it right, different seat demographics, just as we've done with most recently the establishment of the opioid committee or the senior millage committee and that kind of thing. So I think that's what Commissioner Winfrey, am I correct, Commissioner Winfrey? Is that what you were speaking to?
Well, I think there's certain, like in our application process, there are certain questions that we ask the applicants to respond to. So I'm referring to a couple of their questions that are not in our standard application process.
So if it's okay with the board, I'll go back over here for discussion, and then if Mr. Jordan would like to say something, that's fine as well. If we get that from the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission, they submit that to our office, we can have that included as a part of the next committee agenda for governmental operations. We can consider it as a board at that time, debate it, and then bring it forth is what I would suggest that we do to move this item. Commissioner Shoemaker.
If Ms. Jordan would like to come up now, that's fine, then I'll ask my question later if that's fine.
Thank you. Will you state your name? I know we've said it a couple times, but you state your name and your role within the commission that you support or are part of.
Again, I'm Elizabeth Jordan. I'm currently the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. And yes, to answer some of the direct questions, so I've got courtesy of Jerome, who is on it and just texted me a screenshot of the application. So that additional questions beyond just the standard parts that are on the general county application include, why are you interested in serving on this commission? What is your philosophy about diversity, equity, inclusion? What relevant experience do you have that is related to the work of the commission? How can you add value to the commission? And any factors that might limit your ability to serve.
All right, and you'll provide that to us. Can you email that to Mr. Freeman? You may already have, and then he'll prepare and provide that as well.
Certainly.
All right. Any additional questions, comments, discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
So which ones are different then? Because our list is, some of these questions are, why are you interested in serving on this board or commission? What experience do you have that has this? How can you add any value to the board of commissioners? What factors in your life might limit your ability to serve? What is your philosophy on diversity, equity, and inclusion? Do you understand the board of commissioners' priorities and values? What was the other one she'd said that was on there that I missed? Was that all of them? If you would, please, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
First question is, why are you interested in serving on the DEI Commission? What is your philosophy about diversity, equity, and inclusion? What DEI experience do you have that is related to the work of this commission? How can you add value to this commission? What factors in your life might limit your ability to serve? What role do you think you would play on the commission? There's an optional question. What do you think the county could do better to serve residents? And I think that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing that to be read. I just, if I may, Mr. Chair, thank you, Mr. Freeman. My frustration is this is, no other board other than this do we kowtow to like this. No other board. We wouldn't let Parks come in and tell us what we're going to put on our application for asking people what to do and so on and so forth. It's very, very frustrating to me because we say we want to be one streamlined process, one simple thing. And for those of us, guess what, who don't believe in DEI, if we're going to be inclusive of that fact, guess what, and where it's going, and there's a lot of corporations that have recently decided that, guess what, this is not the best direction for us to take. To let one group, and it wouldn't matter if it was Parks coming to the board and telling me this, because we had an issue with a board chair coming to the board and being disrespectful to this board. We weren't going to let anybody talk to this board differently or handle things any differently. So I don't understand what the need is to treat this board so differently. Two, by allowing them to participate and choose members, like I said, there was no interest in listening to the whole community. Because as the conservative on the board, trust me, there was none. I had a very delusional idea of what DEI was when Commissioner, at the time, Clemens, now Clerk Clemens, formed this committee. But I volunteered because I didn't want to judge anything before I experienced it. Because guess what? I can listen to what other people say, but the real fact of the matter is how do I make an opinion off someone else's opinion? I can't. I got to do it myself. And I did. And I participated. I participated in healing circles. And I did a lot of stuff. But I can tell you this. I thought it was to unite our community, to make a fair system that worked for everybody. And I can tell you right now, if you're a conservative, that's not the agenda over there. It's just not. When you have one, and it was only because I was a commissioner, the volunteer, because I guarantee if I hadn't been that commissioner, you wouldn't have had it, and you have no interest in filling that. When we filled those boards, I asked Commissioner Clemens, are we going to have someone from the Islamic religion, even though I'm a Christian? Because guess what? If we're going to be equitable, we're going to ask those people. Are we making sure we have someone from the Jewish community to make sure they have an equitable system? No, we have enough already. And I just don't understand from the get-go why we are constantly catering to this, that it's different than any other board. We allow them to help with policy, which this board has decided. That's what we go along with, and I make sure that I try to help with that because that's what you want to do. But this just is very frustrating to me because guess what? This should be simple. We want you to apply just like everyone else. That's all it is. So, like I said, I appreciate it. I appreciate Commissioner Winfrey, though, for sitting on this committee with me and working with me on everything, and Commissioner Del Rico for all their hard work on it. And like I said, to the chair of the DEI Commission, thank you for being here. It means a lot that you actually showed up. So thank you.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Yeah, I appreciate the views of my conservative brother, but there's a very distinct difference between the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission than the other boards that we appoint to, and that most of the boards that we appoint to are policy-making boards, whereas the uniqueness of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission is to simply make county government and Genesee County as a whole more welcoming, more inclusive, and more equitable for everyone. And that's the distinct difference. And I think those questions in the application process, you know, serve to ferret out those who would not, you know, be amenable to making Genesee County more welcoming, more inclusive, and more equitable.
All right. Anyone else? Commissioner who has not spoken?
Based
Commissioner
on what I could
Getz.
hear of the questions, it didn't really appear that the questions they were asking to have added or changed were really much different than what we already had. So, again, I think we're quibbling over nothing. And that the questions that we have in every other application get to the answers that they're looking for, in my opinion.
Commissioner Brown.
I echo what you just said, Commissioner Getzinger. And I respect the difference. I agree with that differentiation between other commissions, you know, being responsible for policy, and this one being more about culture. The word diversity to me means diversity of gender, diversity of race, diversity of age, but also it also means diversity of thinking. And so we should be careful about groupthink kinds of, you know, forces. And so I think the way it's structured now, if we mimic all the other appointment processes, really this board has the final say on whatever resolutions are recommended from the DEI, recommends, if they recommend policies to us, we have the final decision on the policy. But I think the questions are in alignment with what we just heard Ms. Jordan say. And I also want to add that all commissions, all appointees have the right to come up to us and say for 2 minutes what they, you know, can add, how they can add value to the board. They also have the commission, the DEI commission itself has the opportunity to come up and each one can speak for 2 minutes about, you know, what this person can, how this person can add value. So I think that we are quibbling over nothing. I think we should just, I agree with the process as it stands.
All right. Any additional discussion? Anybody who has not spoken? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Just to clarify, you'd state that, sorry, I apologize. Just to clarify, you guys are stating that the other boards dictate policy or help with policy or create policy, correct? Is that what I heard? I think that's what I heard. And yet, they helped with, you asked them to help with our employee policy as far as hiring policy. You asked them to help with other policy. They follow the same thing. They're promoting policy just like any other board. And with that, like I said, I'm sorry to go on about it. It's just the point of, as someone who sat on it, I really encourage the rest of this board to go sit in there, look at it from other people's angles, look at it from people. We have a hiring problem down here at the county. We can't get people to work for us. I hear all the time. But yet I walk through this building and I see things as a Christian conservative that go, I would never work there. But you don't care about that. Because it's, as long as it fits our ideology, we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it too. Because guess what? I don't throw a fit when there's a Christmas tree around. I don't throw that fit. But like I told Mr. Freeman, he got upset at me because he said he ordered a beautiful Christmas tree. There really shouldn't be then. Because if you're really thinking of everybody and being fair to everybody, then you can't put anybody up above. So that's the problem I have with this, because it's really, if it's real true diversity and equity for everybody, then we need to really, even the bottom corners, people who agree with us at the top of their lungs, should have that voice. And that board has not done that. So to make them special above our other boards, it just gets me going. I'm going to shut up. I apologize for taking the meeting so long. I know we're already ready to vote. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll go from there.
All right. Any additional comments? Any additional discussion? All right. Seeing none, we're voting on the resolution now. Resolution
Could you
2025.
repeat the motion, just so we
I
know?
will read the resolution for you again, if you don't mind. Mr. Chair, is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Approval of the proposed resolution to update the appointment process for Genesee County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission.
All right. Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right. Motion passes. Mr. Shoemaker for the next three
Okay,
resolutions.
I'm going to move all three resolutions Resolution 3, 4, and 5 at once, if that pleases this body.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery, and these are the advertisements for 4 positions that are, that we'll be considering appointments for the Genesee County's Parks and Rec Commission. These are 3-year terms expiring on January 1st, 2029. Approval to advertise 2 positions on the Bishop Airport Authority. These are 3-year terms expiring 12/31/2028. And then the approval of a request to advertise for 11 positions on Genesee County's Opioid Settlement Steering Committee. Is there a discussion? Commissioner Wayhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate the work of the Appointments Committee, and I know that the process has been improved. I'll restate something I said earlier. With these advertisements, we're going to start getting applications, and without a formal policy, I would simply ask that the committee leadership or the committee as a whole meet with the Director of Administration and our Corporation Counsel once the deadline is passed for each of these, and take a look, scan through, and vet these applications to identify anyone who might not be eligible based on what we know about the position, so that we can get ahead of that for the next time around. And then at a subsequent meeting, I'll bring forward some language that codifies that, or at least people can look at and see if it makes sense to them, and we can codify it through an amendment to the existing policy. So I would ask that occur. I'm in favor of all 3 of these.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Any other report from the Appointments Committee? Commissioner Shoemaker.
That is it, nothing is.
All right.
Actually, yes, I'm sorry, I apologize. Since the last board meeting, Commissioner Winfrey, Commissioner Lloyd, I should have called you someone else just to get back at you, but I didn't, and myself had met, and we'd actually discussed a lot of things Commissioner Wayhill had said about refining the policy, but I do and am in favor of what Commissioner Wayhill said of actually not just giving it as a directive to our staff that this is what we want done, but actually put it in writing moving forward, so it's clear. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Wayhill, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any additional, so we're moving through to our community, to Resolution 2025-2667. It's the approval of amendments to the 2025 Equalization Report.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Llewellyn. And the copy of the report is in front of you. All right, is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now that brings us to the Finance Committee. Commissioner Martin Cousineau, Chairperson, Gary Getzinger, Vice Chairperson.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, normally you ask if the economic development people have a report.
Oh,
You kind of skipped her.
I look right to the resolutions listed. Normally I do pause, even if resolutions are not there. Thank you for the flag. I looked at the resolution and then jumped down to the next one.
She
So,
better say something
yes,
now.
thank you. Commissioner Dr. Brown, is there a report from the Community Economic Development?
I would just say that, thank you, Commissioner Cousineau, for not overlooking me. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. I just want to say that next month, remind people to pay attention to the Chief Strategic Growth Officer job description, because I do anticipate that we vote on that during the month of December, and hopefully we can start looking for doing a job search for that at the beginning of the year. That's all I have. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and a very important flag. Thank you, Dr. Brown. All right, now we're to our Finance Committee.
Mr. Chair, I wish to move resolutions 1 through 12 by consent.
Support.
All right, items 1 through 12 have been moved by consent by Commissioner Cousineau, supported by Commissioner James Avery. Is there any separations? Are there any separations?
Mr. Chair, can I separate out the first one? Motherly intercession?
All right, is so ordered without objection. Are there any additional separations? Items number 2 through 12. All right, seeing no additional separations, is there any discussion on items 2 through 12? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now we are back to resolution number 1.
Mr. Chair,
Item number 1.
if I might, just some minor things.
Maybe
One
I should-
moment.
Maybe I should move it
Okay,
first
I'm
and
sorry. Go
then
ahead.
discussion, but I move resolution 25-2220.
All right, moved by Commissioner Cousineau, supported by Commissioner Wayhill. Discussion, Commissioner Wayhill.
So, 3 things: motherly intercession, great organization. We have misspelled intercession throughout the resolution. I mentioned this to Mr. Freeman this evening. And then we've also used a document that's in the backup that I think was a template, and we've got VAAA mixed in there with motherly intercession by mistake. So I just wanted to point that out, that the Director of Administration's aware of it and going to make those edits. I'm in support of this.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Wayhill. Is there any additional discussion on item number 1?
When you have 15 hours on an airplane, you can read through every line. You know what's what. Thank you.
We're going to put you on the airplane with the appointments, and you can go through those as well. Thank you for volunteering.
With Mr.
All
Wayhill
right.
supporting it, I move that we do this with the corrections that staff is going to.
All right, thank you. We'll do that without any objections. All right, any additional discussion on resolution 2025-2220? Seeing no additional discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. That brings us back to item number 13, or brings us to item number 13.
Okay, Mr. Chair, normally I know that last week I moved this just to bring it forward, but I'm not going to read it that I moved it because I won't vote for it as is. I assume there's going to be a lot of debate and changes. But Resolution 25-26070, approval of the non-wage fringe benefits changes for elected officials and non-union employees that mirror the changes to which the union employees agree in their collective bargaining agreements, and the implementation of a wage document submitted by Commissioner Sean Shoemaker related to the wages for elected officials and non-union employees.
I'll move it for discussion, Mr. Chair.
Support with a comment.
All right, been moved by Commissioner Wayhill, supported by Commissioner Flewelly for discussion. All right, so first hand that I saw was Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As I stated last week, we needed a starting point for things. I know several of you have worked on this, and I appreciate the work you put forward over the week. I'm going to sit back and listen while you guys go ahead. I would like, though, if Crystal could come up and kind of explain some things that have changed in the last week that she's brought to our attention that we didn't catch before, and then there's a few other things when we get done that I'd like to discuss with you if she doesn't bring them up. So feel free. Sorry to put you on the spot, but have at it.
I do have some updated sheets from last week. Commissioner Shoemaker and I believe Commissioner Cousineau were discussing the elected's pay and had me remove the year 2 and 3 for the elected officials. The first one was for the Board of Commissioners. I think once that pay is set at the beginning of your term, you can't change it until the next term is entered. HR contacted me a little bit ago also. We need to exempt any court positions on here. Those positions are determined by the courts. So we need to remove them from whatever resolution you approve here so that we don't get conflicts going with that.
Mr. Chair, do you have those, Crystal, so the board could cross those out as we go along, because there's so many names on here?
Anita sent me an
positions?
email. Let me see.
Maybe that should be our first amendment to remove that? Yes. Okay, I'll make the amendment to remove the court-appointed people, or the court employees. Go ahead and read them, Crystal.
Sure. So specifically, the district court administrator, the clerk of the court magistrate, Clinical Services Manager, Deputy Court Administrator, the JJC Supervisors, which there are 6, Juvenile Justice Center Director, an undetermined number of admin secretaries. She said Barb Manier would wait until you approve something to then determine where to put theirs. Magistrate, Deputy Clerk of Court, and the Specialty Court Services Director.
All right, so I just want to be clear, the motion's been made and supported to remove the positions that you stated from this. Is that,
Yeah, I think that's the way we should do it, to at least take that off
Okay.
right from the beginning.
okay, so that's,
Go ahead, Sean.
Do you want to also do with a portion of the co-electeds, year 2 and 3, like she recommended? 'Cause it's against
Yes,
policy.
yes, why don't we do that too,
okay.
in my amended motion?
Okay, so the motion is to remove the positions, because there's other processes that will take care of those positions, right? To remove those positions and to also remove the rate increases for years 2 and 3 for the elected officials,
The co-elected's correct.
co-electeds, all right? All right, so that's the motion. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. You're tracking. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I guess maybe I should start out the discussion from here, being I'm the finance chair, and I know I'll direct these, if you don't mind. It's almost a conversation with Mr. Shoemaker, because this is his proposal, and I just needed some clarification.
So as a matter of order, we don't have a motion that's on the floor at this time, but I'm anticipating there will be variant changes.
We do have a motion.
We do?
Yeah.
I moved it for the purposes of discussion. He seconded it with a question, but hasn't been able to ask his question.
But we just,
We amended it.
We just amended
To
that.
remove some items.
Yeah.
got it. All right, I just want to make sure I'm tracking. Okay, thanks a lot. All right,
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Fluellen.
So I discussed this briefly last week. I would like to offer an amendment also, is just make sure this is the appropriate time.
It is.
So, with regards to 3 positions with the Sheriff's Department, I talked about it last week. The emergency manager's traditionally been paid at a captain's wage. So I would like to amend that position.
Could you pull your mic a little closer so we can hear?
Yeah? Okay. So, the emergency manager is traditionally paid at a captain's wage, so I would like to amend that piece to pay the emergency manager the commensurate wage with years of service in position. In addition to that, the major, when talking about the captain's wage with the contract that was just approved, the major, according to this sheet, would be making $3,500 less than a captain per year, and he's above them. So I would like to amend that to $110,000 for the major. And going along with that, the undersheriff to 115, because the major would be basically making the same as the undersheriff. 115.
Can you, Phil Fluellen, for
Yes, sir.
those of us on the board trying to follow with all the
Oh, sorry.
pages of stuff, can you start with what page your first
Okay.
is?
Yes,
and let's
sir.
go through those numbers if possible.
Yep. Let me find them again here on this new page. So,
Do you want
so the undersheriff's on the top of the second page. I would amend that from the 110,234 to 115. The major is on the third page. Fifth one down. That would go from 104,239 to 110.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The major would go from 104,239 to 110. It's the fifth one down on the third page. I just gotta find the emergency manager.
To be clear before, so
Yes.
everyone understands, some of these positions are hourly, correct? So they can qualify for overtime? I'm just trying to-
believe
which
that's
one?
salary.
Are all
I'm
three?
sorry?
Undersheriff and major are both salary.
Okay.
I do not know on the emergency manager. Is it salary or
That-
hourly?
I believe-
It's hourly.
I believe that's hourly, yeah. The emergency manager is halfway down the second page.
And what are you proposing?
And I don't have a hard number for that. It's 9702 right now, plus 500. It would be based on whatever the captain's contract was approved for a four-year captain. That would be the equivalent of what they're supposed to get.
I'm sorry, can you provide rationale for those three changes? I wasn't quite.
Yeah, absolutely. So the emergency manager is supposed to be paid at a captain's level. The new contract was approved. That's not reflected in this for that position. The major in here, if we go by this number, would be getting paid $3,500 a year less than their subordinates, which would be the top pay for captains. So if you move the major up to where they, in my opinion, perhaps should be, they'll basically be getting paid the same as the undersheriff. So it's basically a hierarchy of needs.
So does that, does that equate to an 80% differential between the undersheriff and the sheriff? I'm not sure if that's,
I'd have to do the math. It's about a $15,000, it would be a $19,000 difference.
okay.
80% of the sheriff would be 107,368. And you proposed, I believe, 110,234? Oh, sorry, that's the current, 115.
Yeah.
So that's more than 80%.
Yes.
I read something about, and so if we did that 80%, if we did the 115, is that, what are you comparing that against, I guess? Is that based on
So
a?
if you did the 80%, 107 you said?
Mm-hmm.
So your undersheriff would make the same as a six-year captain?
Okay, and so you're saying those two should not be?
No.
Okay, so the captain is above, the undersheriff is?
It goes deputy, lieutenant, captain, major, undersheriff, sheriff.
Okay, so the structure that you're proposing is just going by rank?
Yeah, it separates them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's so. it's
Yeah, I
been
move
made-
it. Yeah.
So that's discussion for that component of it, right?
Yes, but I think that as amendments come, I think the cleanest way is for us to vote on those amendments.
Mhm.
Or we're gonna end up with, everybody has different amendments and it's gonna maybe
So I
not
will,
be as productive.
I should move my amendment.
Yeah, so,
I'll move
so
it.
he's made his motion, his amendment, he's moved it. Is there support? There's support. Commissioner Getzinger supports the motion. All right, is there any additional discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, the motion passes. All right? So we're back to the main motion. Are there any other amendments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Got to kind of collect my thoughts here. How was 101,000 for directors determined? I guess through you to Mr. Shoemaker, because it was his proposal.
This was after discussion with a few board members, just a starting point. I'd spoken with Dr. Brown about this today. Like I said, I'm gonna sit back because my main goal was to get things started at a level where I thought most people would somewhat agree upon, and to make sure we had a list, to understand all the positions we were approving, because the list, the small yellow and red sheet we had was not as detailed. And Crystal and I met, we went over these things, I'd expressed what I wanted to see, and I knew we'd work on it, but, this was just a number, as before Commissioner Lloyd had mentioned, he thought at the last meeting, most of our department heads should at least make this. I've had other, commissioners mention to me that, guess what, there are some departments that only manage 2 people and other departments that manage 140 people. So it's not very equitable, which I, understand that portion too, so that's how I came up with that, but it's up to, like I said,
I'm just, I know
I'm
it was
just sitting
just,
back.
I know, and that's why I passed it through, is just to get the discussion going. I just wanted a clarification on that, because, I too had a conversation with Dr. Brown about that, and I think at this point in time, I may just, at her pleasure, make an amendment at some point in time concerning that. Go ahead.
So, first I want to provide sort of a philosophical and an analytical framework for moving forward with this. And once I provide that foundation, I think it would be appropriate. Then I'll make a motion based on that piece of it. So because of what was just stated, and I've discussed this with several commissioners just one-on-one, there is a differential between job descriptions. There's a differential between responsibility. There are differentials between knowledge and skill sets. And so if you look at the factors that make county government effective, it boils down to 4 different areas. It boils down to responsibility and the amount of and degree of decision-making required, accountabilities and authority, really contributions of informing the board about policy and tying into our healthy and livable, safe communities. So that's the number 1 factor in my view, philosophically speaking, in terms of what we should do as county government. The next weighted factor is knowledge and skill sets. That has to do with the amount of education, experience, and training necessary, and the complexity and variety of duties that a person might have based on their technical, analytical, operational, and personal skill sets needed. So that's another factor that we need to take a look at. The third one is relationships, which has to do with, building contacts with residents, with other government authorities in the county, with universities, with foundations, with fellow employees, and the capacity for influencing others. That's another weighted factor. And then the final 4th factor is financial results. We're not in business to make a profit. We do want to break even, however. We don't want to get the county in trouble, but it has to do with preservation of our county's assets. It has to do with cost management. It has to do with minimizing taxes, but allowing for superior services. So those are the 4 factors: financial results, knowledge and skills, responsibility, and relationships. And if we look at those and use that as a framework for analyzing the job descriptions, we can kind of make an informed decision about salaries that match those skill sets and those 4 factors. So having said that, having everybody make the same wage of $101,000 is not really fair based on the factors that I just described. So having said that, and there's some other things too we need to take into consideration, populations, counts, and longevity is a factor that this board has traditionally taken into consideration, and that's something else we need to take a look at. But having said that, and let me say one other thing. Last week, it was brought up that our senior services position was paid far less, $77,587 to be precise, which is far less than any other department head. According to the wage study, it was far less. I I took exception to that, and I think many other board members had a problem with that. And I think it's something we need to remedy as soon as we can. I think that, you know, the animal control position, senior services, GIS, and the veterans position, and I'll throw the public defender in there too, are areas that we need to look at in terms of applying a new framework. So what I'm gonna propose is that we pull out the senior service, I'm gonna make a motion. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna move that we increase the senior services position by $10,000. Just to bring it up for parity purposes. And I say that with the exception, or I don't know if that's the right word. I say that because I still want that to be a position that we analyze using this framework moving forward. And I'm hoping we can use this framework to analyze positions in a thorough fashion within the next 3 months, so the first quarter of next year. That's what I'm hoping we can do. But for right now, I want to make a motion to correct the senior services position because of the level of responsibility, because of the knowledge and skills, because of the relationships with our 16 senior centers, because of the financial results that has to be, you know, taken a look at and taken into consideration with the millage. I think that position requires more than what's stated there.
All right, it's been, that amendment has been moved in the form of motion. Is there support?
I'll support it with a question.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Brown, supported by Commissioner Cousineau. All right, discussion, Commissioner Cousineau.
I'm not exactly sure what the motion was, I guess is what my question is, but can we add the caveat subject to?
That's the word I was looking
evaluation.
for, subject to.
Yeah, subject to, yeah.
So the motion,
To evaluation in the first quarter of next year.
so
Yes.
the motion was to increase the position by 10,000 immediately,
Immediately.
and then.
But I will accept that as a friendly amendment.
With subject to evaluation in the first quarter. All right, anything additional, Commissioner Shoemaker, and then Commissioner Wayhill.
Mr. Wayhill, if you would like to go first.
Commissioner
that's fine.
Wayhill.
Thank you. And I guess my question is to Commissioner Shoemaker through you on this topic. Is it just the two positions, the senior services and the animal control, where you found them sort of grossly under what the other directors are being paid? Or are there other directors that fall into this category of having to go to the 101,000, or is it just those two?
I think it was only, if I remember correctly, and forgive me, I think it was 4 that we took to the 101.
Yes, it
Could
was
Could you
Animal-
point those out for me?
animal control, senior services, GIS, and veterans.
Okay.
But what was, I'm sorry.
Can you,
What was her
I'm sorry, colleague, excuse
No,
me. Can everybody use your microphone, lean in,
Yeah.
so public can
Yep,
hear us as
The
well?
motion is on the single position, right, for
It's on the
10,000?
single position.
But I think the larger point is, I agree that position needs to be increased. I think that, I mean, I'm reading between the lines here, but I think what Commissioner Shoemaker was trying to do is very similar to what you're saying, Dr. Brown, and that is not in terms of the rubric that you want to use and the overlay, but the fact that these are so obviously under where the other directors and other leaders at the county are, that, and everyone else is over 100, right? Is that correct? So I'm content with the proposal as Sean has brought it in terms of bringing those 4 up to the 101. Certainly open to having this analysis down the road for these and other positions, but one of my concerns is it's going to be a very complicated analysis, and it'll be a very complicated analysis. I'm not sure who's going to perform that. because it'd be a ton of work. And so I would rather give those folks what I think they deserve, just based on what I know about organizations and my experience, and the fact that there's 4 that are well below, in a couple instances anyway, the 100,000. So I'm speaking against the amendment, but in favor of the concept, I think. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any additional discussion before I have discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Dr. Brown. I don't mind voting on this, but I would like to see how the other 3 dollar figures come out for pay for the other 3 members before, I vote on this, because let's say they're higher and I don't feel like they should be higher, then I voted for this already, and then I'm gonna have to vote no on the others. Does that make sense, what I'm saying, or is it understandable where I'm going? I'm not as articulate as Commissioner Wayhill, so sometimes
No, you're fine.
Any additional discussion? All right, so I think that, I appreciate the rubric. I think that is something I'd be open to considering further. But particularly, perspective, which we're all entitled to it, that the suggested amount 101 is not fair based on, various factors. I don't agree. There are different ways to determine salaries, and there are different measuring sticks that are used by different organizations. And I believe that I don't believe that setting a minimum for department heads across Genesee County is an unfair approach. I believe that, regardless of the amount of employees in Genesee County or in each department, that all of our department heads are department heads of Genesee County, but assigned to, selected to run different parts of our organization as department heads. And the thought was that if we have a department head at Genesee County, that they would not make below a certain amount. So there will be a floor, and then certainly, whether by the rubric that you suggested or by other measuring sticks, then there's a determination of what that looks like. For instance, if we had corporation counsel was just a department head, for instance, I'm just using it for instance, and there may be different reasons, just using a couple things you mentioned, education, skill set, whatever. He has this JD or whatever the case may be, then we may decide that based on that, hey, there's something else that position is going to receive. But I support the minimal floor for the department heads. And then to Commissioner Wayhill's point, it's going to take time to go through these and do it in a way where we all can step back and say, all of these are fair. We won't be able to do it tonight. And I know that we've already spent, time is already spent in terms of addressing the wages of our team. The last thing I'll say is I'm more hopeful to come up with a way of addressing salaries now in a way that we believe is fair. And over the course of the next quarter, the next year, we have more discussion about what our philosophy is going to be. Is it going to be evaluations, then payment, compensation being addressed? Is it going to be a combination of the two? Is it going to be this measuring stick or other measuring sticks that are not on the table? So I just wanted to say that about, in terms of fairness, that I do believe that having a floor for our department heads, I do believe that it's fair. I believe that's appropriate in what we do above the minimum, because I think 70,000 is too low to be the minimum for a department head in the county. So I won't be supporting this motion. I'll be voting in favor of 101 being the minimum for department heads, and then I look forward to seeing what we do above that based on whatever measuring stick this board chooses to adopt in the future. That's my discussion. Any additional discussion?
No,
All right.
just other than vote on the motion and up or down, then we go from there.
Yes. So the motion before us is to adjust, to increase the salary of the senior services position by 10,000, with the caveat that it will be addressed further in the first quarter of the new year. Did I state that correctly? All right, all right. Any additional discussion, Commissioner Fluellen?
Just so I'm clear, that's 10,000 over the 101.
No, it's
No.
10,000 in addition to the current rate,
To our current,
Oh, so that's just,
it's bringing her up,
10 grand.
okay.
Yeah,
and then maybe more
it could be more
when we talk.
after the analysis.
Okay.
All right, all right, so there's no additional discussion. A yes vote is in support of the amendment. A no vote is to vote against the amendment. Okay, all in favor?
Roll call, please.
Or roll call?
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Lloyd?
No.
Commissioner Winfrey?
No.
Commissioner Getzinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Avery?
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker?
No.
Commissioner Kuzno?
Yes.
Commissioner Wayhill?
No.
And Commissioner Flewelling?
No.
I have 5 no, 4 yes.
All right, motion fails. All right, we're back at the main motion. I'll defer back to Commissioner Brown for additional amendments.
Well, I appreciate your thinking with having a minimum for department heads. However, I think for reasons that I've stated earlier, the equity factor is not there. You know, one department head has 3 people under their supervision. Another department head may have 15 people and, you know, 100 volunteers. That level of responsibility, degree of decision-making, capacity, that it differs vastly. So the wages should differ accordingly. So I guess I'll make another motion, and we'll see how that goes, that we just do a 1% increase for all 4 of those positions for the time being, subject to further analysis based on a new framework.
All right, so the motion says, is there support for the motion?
I will support it with
Discussion.
discussion, but, you know, I would rather see it 2%.
I can accept a 2%.
All right, so the motion from Commissioner Brown now, supported by Commissioner Cousineau, is to provide a 2% increase for, will you state the positions again? Oh, you know, I have them, Senior Services, Animal Control, GIS, and what is the other?
Veterans.
Veterans, that's the other. All right, for 2%. All right, is there any discussion?
But then
And that,
the conversation or the evaluation to follow.
yes, with the evaluation to follow, Commissioner Shoemaker, discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to see us do a little more than that just tonight. We've waited a long time for this. I think there's several employees on here that deserve something to happen. I was just waiting, like I said, the last resolution or motion, we were moving forward to see where everybody else was in Dr. Brown's plan. I don't want to wait on this, because I appreciate all of us and I value all of us, but things tend to slip away from us. Time starts ticking, and guess what? We don't get to it very rapidly. And I don't want that to be the case, because we have some very valuable department heads here. Like I said, there's some that are very close to what we're recommending, you know, and there's some that are farther away. And I agree with Dr. Brown that, guess what, managing or overseeing 30 people compared to 3, and then overseeing volunteers on top of it is very different, like for animal control, than it is managing 3 people. That being said, also I agree with the chair, though, that there needs to be a minimum. I don't know if it's that high for me, but I do agree that there needs to be a level that, guess what, you shouldn't have certain employees. Like, we've approved something, we've got a department head that runs a department that, with a union contract, they're making more than this individual right now. You know, and they're the department head. So I think we need to act on these things. I think we need to move on them. I understand that there are two that are very close, they're both in the nineties, but the ones that are in the seventies and the one that's in the eighties, I just don't think that's fair to leave them there at 2% for now. I just don't think it is. We moved everybody else. If you want me to put a number out there, I mean, I put the 101, but if you want me something in the middle where everybody else will be happy, you want to evaluate it later, I'm totally good with that, but I was hoping we have a few more people have bits of information. But I do agree that, guess what? You know, obviously there is a difference, and I appreciate Dr. Brown for pointing that out, but I also agree that, guess what? They shouldn't be making less than one of their employees if they're working overtime. You know, if the employee's working just a little overtime, or even at their base wage. So I think something needs to kind of happen at a more rapid rate. Like I said, I really believe, if you want me to start one by one, I can, or hope somebody else will do it, so.
All right, so I'm gonna go Commissioner Flewelling and then Dr. Brown.
So I just wanted to throw out there that, I understand the metric of how many people are managed, what's the size of the department. But for me, I also look at the complexity within that department. GIS may only have 3 people, let's say, but the complexity of the work that they do and what that director has to do from day to day as compared to maybe some of these other department heads that just manage the people. So for me, that's a factor too. You might have a department head that's got 3 people, but in truth, that department might need 30. But budgetarily over the years, they just didn't have that. So I think for me, that plays into my thought process as well. What does that department do? What does that director do from day to day? Are they just managing the people, or are they doing the work too?
Commissioner Brown, and
So, what I was gonna say is that, the framework that I just described to you is one that I've used in corporate, in banking personally. And, we were faced with this very same issue. The bank took it upon themselves to come up with this weighted rubric. And they also had people from across representatives from across all the agencies within the bank to come and sit at the table and listen to that kind of argument about the complexity of the positions, about the relationships in the positions. And then they all agreed on how much weight that particular position earned based on the job description. And at the end of the day, I think it took us less than 3 months, if I recall. At the end of the day, the decisions were made and all the job descriptions were, fairly weighted, if you will. So I talked about the what up front. So that kind of describes the how. I want to go back to, because I was disappointed in the senior services vote just now. And if we do a 2%, that's not sitting well with me with senior services. So I'm going to come back with a counter proposal, and going back to the department head minimum concept. What if we established a department head minimum of $90,000? Is $90,000 something we can live with? And if indeed $90,000 is something we can live with as a minimum for department heads, then which 2 department heads do not meet that benchmark? There are 2 department heads right now that don't meet that benchmark on this list. That's senior services and animal control. So that would at least remedy the huge disparity that we have right now.
Are you willing to drop your original motion then and
I
provide
will.
us some? I will drop my support of the original.
So my new motion, just to be clear, is that we adopt a minimum department head department head wage or salary of $90,000, subject to future analysis.
All right, is there support?
I'll support it.
All right, so there's support. I'm gonna jump in for discussion on this. I'm gonna kind of break our normal process, because there's gonna be a lot of discussion back and forth, and I didn't get a chance to get on the last piece. So when you look at our department heads, which I supported, I'm good. Our department heads, 134, 130, 124, 117, 110, 147, 142, 159, 140, 115, 121, 133, right? Those are all of the department heads that are above 100,000 and then you have 77,080, which are the ones on the lower end of that, then you have 92, and you have 99. That's one of the reasons why I was in support of the minimum being at least 101, every department head, because these are some large ranges based on whatever factors were established, 159, 134, 147. I won't go all the way back through them. So even at 90,000, we still have those department heads under $100,000 as a department head. Our unions, based on the wage study and what we ultimately agreed to, receive, based on the wage study, receive increases. There's one unit that received, I think, like 33% of an increase. So when you say 1%, you say 2%, it's not even on the map for people who aren't close to that wage study. And I don't, we've already debated whether or not we should have had it or not, so I'm not getting into that. But my point is that we have approved some major increases that go beyond the norm nationwide. And so, you know, for me, 90 is still, although, you know, salary is still nowhere near, in my opinion, the other department heads that we have. I think if we were going to set the floor, you know, every department head will be above 100, but they will be a spread between 101 and 159, and department heads will be different spaces in there. The other thing is this, about the rubric, which I support. There are different rubrics, so I support this one. I can support others. I like to be able to debate it and talk more about what measuring stick we use. I don't think we'll have time to do that tonight. But we don't really know what capabilities or talents or, you know, the scope, the range of any of our department heads' abilities and what they offer. And we're not going to have that before us tonight. I'll take the lowest department head. I won't say the department, but, you know, they may be the lowest paid, but they may be just as talented as the highest paid here, but just working in a different area. I just don't think that we'll have the time and the resource before us tonight to really, and I think that's why you're saying, hey, let's do the quarter next year. But I think it's a matter of timing, because we're already at the end of the first year. And by the time we get through this in the next quarter, we'll have nearly a year and a half left in this whole period. You know, and I'll just make this broad and I'll digress. I think we just need to do it. Just pick a framework as been suggested, address the pay, come back and debate the measuring stick we want to use, and then put a plan together as to how we're going to approach every position, so that when we come back to the next round of these wage discussions, we'll have a framework that's adopted by the body that we can start applying as we get to that next point, because the third year is going to roll around pretty quick. So that's where I am, because we'll be all night going one by one, and we still won't be able to measure them based on this measuring stick or a measuring stick I can come up with that I've used in hundreds of contracts. There's no way for us to debate that tonight. Commissioner Flu-Allen, Commissioner Wayhill, and come back over here.
Two questions real quick, if I may. Maybe I'm missing something here, but the Chief Animal Control Officer, that's the Director of Animal Control, correct? Okay.
Yes.
So on this sheet, they're listed at 80,038.
Yes.
The Deputy Director of Animal Control is 80,038. Supposed to be 80% of the department head.
That's the present, correct?
Yes.
They're both at the same wage presently, so that's.
The 80% rule is going forward. It's something we're establishing now.
Right, I'm trying to figure out why the Deputy Director is getting paid the same as the Director.
I don't know
Okay,
the answer to that.
at the moment, yes. Okay, so,
But that's one reason why, if we do a minimum.
oh, I'm supportive of the minimum. I was fine with the 101. I didn't have a problem with that. I just saw that and it was odd to me. So I get that my other, it's a question, but maybe it's more of a statement. I think it was Commissioner Shoemaker that indicated, you know, the struggle that we have to find quality department heads and bring them into the county. And so when looking at recruitment and retention, yeah, my question would be, and maybe somebody on the board knows this, that was here long before me, but the last time that we had openings for senior services directors and animal control director, what did our applicant pool look like? How many applicants did we have? Did we have quality candidates at these wages, or that recruitment piece would have been better with that minimum?
I just wanted to respond
That's
to
what I was
that
gonna do.
first. You know, how long ago the senior services person was hired was predated me, so I don't know, and maybe the only one that we've ever had, I don't know. I know that in the past, when we've advertised for the animal control, we've had a number of people apply for that. Am I correct on that, Sean?
Real quick, Commissioner B.B. Nolan and I sat on a committee for that. Mr. Freeman helped us with that. I believe, if I remember correctly, Mr. Freeman, we had 2 applicants that were actually qualified. We had applicants.
Right.
But we had 2 that were qualified. So, like I said, I'm opposed right now to lump, I think they deserve a little more attention than that, because, just as an example, I'll use Jay at Animal Control. He has done, in my opinion, a wonderful job out there. You know, he has his staff, he also has volunteers that he has to manage, and he does a great job. And before he got here, let me tell you right now, we would get emails every week, and so that he makes the same as his deputy director, I think that needs to be corrected tonight. And I don't mean, so that's why I look at each one of them individually tonight. I'd like to do that, but however everybody wants to move forward, it's part of the discussion. But yeah, we really had 2 qualified, just to answer your question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and that was my question. When you look at openings like that, and if you had that minimum set, maybe you'd have 5, maybe you'd have 6 qualified that either want to give up what they're doing now to come in and do it, or you have perhaps retirees that want to be at that level. So, thank you.
Commissioner Wayhill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to clarify, the motion on the floor is to set a minimum for director-level positions, people with that title, at 90 versus the original proposal of 101. Can someone tell me, I guess this is a point of information, what does the wage study show for the 2 positions that would be raised if this were to pass? So animal control, because I don't see it on here.
So the wage study for animal control, even at 101, it's still $4,179 below the comp study.
So what's the wage study number?
The wage study number is 105,179
Okay.
for animal control.
You're stealing my thunder, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
What's the wage study for the senior services director?
Okay, wage study 106,716.
Okay. So I guess one point that I would make is the motion that I moved originally talks about mirroring the changes to which the union employees agreed in their collective bargaining agreements, which I think is predicated on the wage study in almost, if not every instance. So the 101 gets us closer to that, consistent with the original motion, than the 90 does. And I just think looking at the list that you read off, 140, 150, one whatever, those are so far away from 90 that I can still live with the 101 as a minimum, knowing that we will eventually evaluate things and perhaps make changes that are upward in direction. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So as a part of this, just a matter of peace, we can make motions to amend this, and we can make motions to adopt something as well. So we can do amendments. Somebody can make a substitute motion to say, hey, I move that we adopt this as well. And I'm saying that as we move the discussion, whatever the numbers are, whoever proposes it, because we have what Commissioner Shoemaker has proposed, but we haven't acted on it. We moved it here. And so as we take these individual ones, if you say, hey, I want 90, or I want it to be 150 as a minimum, I'm just trying to be fair, you can make that motion and say, I move that we adopt that, and we can move forward.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you for that. So the way I took the original motion is that it is sort of confusing because the way this is written, I didn't write it, but the first half of it talks about, this is the original motion, number 13 on page 3. The first half, and then if you look at the backup, it's the first resolved. It talks about mirroring the collective bargaining, and then the second half of it is approving Commissioner Shoemaker's proposal, which, to me, I don't know that the two of those things are the same. Mr. Freeman?
Yep, so that first half is talking about those volunteer days, so that non-unions get the volunteer days. It talk
I see.
about, maternity leave, those types of things.
So
those-
non-wage fringe benefits, I see.
Yes, and then the second part is talking about this spreadsheet that's before you tonight.
Okay, so thank you for that. That's very helpful. So to your point, Mr. Lloyd, or Chair Lloyd, in my view, what's on the floor is exactly that then. It's the fringe benefit side, and then this is on the floor. So what I moved was, in the context of this discussion, are the minimums of 101. What Dr. Brown is attempting to do is amend the main motion to bring that down to 90. I think that's the practical
Sure.
impact. So there is a motion on the floor to move the proposal, and I think what each of us is doing is taking a whack at that to try to improve it from our own point of view, which I respect Dr. Brown for doing. So I will end there.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Cousineau.
One of the questions I had, just in general, but being it was mentioned in this discussion, the wage study. You know, I know that we've had a lot of discussion and people are for it and people are against it, but I noticed throughout this, at times it's stated that this is recommended because of the wage study. And then there's other times where it's in there, says, well, 14 or 15%. You know, so the attempt, from what I can see in that wage study, was ordered before I rewon the 2 years I was gone. So I first of all, I want to remind everybody that the wage study that there's been so much debate about in the past is actually 2 years old already, if not closer to 3. So I look at it, even if we adopted the wage study, which I would have made that last week if Mr. Shoemaker hadn't come up with something, because we just needed to start the discussion. But so I'm really complexed with what we're doing here, and you know, even the 101, you know, as it was, you know, mentioned, the wage study showed more. So why are we limiting them to 101? And then there's other people, which is a lot of them, that are over the wage study, so we're not giving them anything the first year other than a $500 or $600 bonus, whatever it is. I'm a little perplexed with the whole process. I understand that I was here since 2016, other than those 2 years. We've never done this process before, and I think it's great that we're doing it, because there were so many inequities with how people are paid. And that's what we're discussing here right now in these 4 positions, and trying to make them, find a way to make them right. And we will be here all night, you know, picking these out like what we are. I think in general, everybody agrees that the benefit package, you know, pass it through, that's what everybody has. But I really believe that what we're doing with the proposal that was submitted here today, that we're working at, is in contrast to what we did for all the unions. We basically gave all the unions the wage study, plus a percentage over the next 2 or 3 years. which we haven't gotten into it yet, but I have a problem with this 111, you know. Most of the unions got more than 111. I think it should be more 22, that type of thing. So I don't know how to, you know, I know we have to make a decision tonight, and I think we all agree that moving forward at some point in time, that we need to adopt Dr. Brown's recommendation for evaluations. We're not going to do that tonight, so that really is kind of off the floor, other than as a reference to do it in the near future. But to simplify things, you know, I know we got a motion on the floor, but I'm prepared to make a motion just to do the wage study. And then we've already wasted a year. I shouldn't phrase it that way. We've been debating this for a year, so we need to make the decision tonight, and so we don't waste any more time. Our employees deserve it, and we need to do it. And so I don't know how the rest of this board wants to proceed, but that's how I look at it. I just wanted to bring that out at this point in time, just make a decision. The wage study was an honest attempt by a prior board to make things as equal as possible. And so, is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's an attempt to make it close to equal. And I know that I've had Crystal do the numbers with that proposal, you know, so I know it's going to come out more of than the numbers for this. But that's what I'm prepared to do, but we need to discuss it, what the rest of the board wants to do. And, you know, I look at, you know, what Dr. Brown is doing is just fine. We're trying to find that threshold. I don't have a problem with probably a higher number. I don't care. But we need to make a decision and move it forward. And I know it's going to cost us money, and I know we're going to have to sit down in the near future to figure it out. But, you know, maybe if I may make a recommendation, Mr. Chair, is that we at least vote on you know, if it gets turned down, what Dr. Brown and I supported, then that's fine with me. It's no big deal. But then, you know, let's, you know, make a minimum of some type and then move on. Even if the minimum is the wage study, which is a few thousand more than the 101.
Thank you, Commissioner Cousineau. Commissioner Shoemaker, I have additional discussion, but I'll wait and see who, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my question would be, one, is if you approve the 90, if the board does the amendment, how does that affect deputy department heads on here, and how do you know how many that would affect? I know it's a lot to ask, Crystal, because I apologize, but.
I'm not sure how many department heads in total we have. I know we usually have 25 department meetings for the budget cycle, but that includes courts. So I'm not sure how many on here would be department heads that we would be doing the 80% of. But if you stuck to the 80%, whatever you change the deputy or the director to, we would just be adjusting that 80%, that new number. Some of them were already over the 80%, so they may not be adjusted. We'd have to do that analysis.
Yeah, most of them, when you and I went through it, if it was a lower number or not. Mr. Chair, if I may ask one other question.
Point of information, it's captured on the original sheet that we gave. If you look at the four positions, Senior Services, Animal Control, and GIS, and who doesn't have a deputy, and then also veterans, the minimum would not impact the 80% piece for the deputies. There's only two of them that would, if we went to 80%, that would go up. It'd be the LR, Labor Relations, and Facilities. Those are the only two on here that would go up if we just simply went to the 80% piece. But I'll reserve my other comments for once you conclude.
Just a quick question to the rest of the board, though. Are there, other than these four we're talking about, are there any other Are there any other, how do I put this? Are there any other positions that anyone wants to bring up? Just before we go for there, are we just down to these four? I'm just trying to rationalize where we are.
Can I just clarify one item? If you did go the wage study, one of those four would still be below the minimum that you were talking about. So I just want to make sure that's clear before you decide.
And that's GIS.
Yes.
Say that one more time?
If you were to adopt the wage study in lieu of the minimum that was discussed, their GIS would be below that minimum number that was thrown out there,
Oh, okay.
if we did the wage study number.
So we have, like I said, I'm done, thank you. I just, all right, wait to see what everybody does with the motion on the floor.
I don't see any additional hands. I have some discussion, but this is to a couple of questions posed by Commissioner Cousineau. So relative to the wage study, so in the sheet that Commissioner Shoemaker, it's my understanding is that where wage study is listed, that means that those individual positions are already at or above what the wage study says that their wage should be. So those positions then say wage study. So it's no change, is my understanding.
No,
No.
Is that not
no,
correct?
no.
The 500 or 600 are the ones that are already at or above the wage study, I believe.
Yeah, most of those, but just looking real quick here.
Those that say one-time payment mean they're already,
Yeah,
At
you're
or
moving,
above
yeah,
the
some
wage.
of them you're moving to the wage study and other ones you're not.
The 500s and 600s are already over.
They're already over it, but there's a couple of mentions here, you're taking it up to the wage study, the district court, well, we took the court administrator out.
those that say wage study in the
Oh.
first year, you can see between the current pay column and the year one pay,
So I'm thinking about, excuse me, I misspoke. I'm thinking about the department head specifically. I'm focused at the department heads and the deputy
Okay,
department
I was
heads.
just talking about
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, the other positions which I reflect, because some of those changes in terms of wage studies are minimal adjustments. Some of those positions, they're not large changes, but just specifically department head and the deputy. So this is what I want to say. So in terms of the wage study, I can't speak for other colleagues. I know that there are differing perspectives on both sides of it, but I don't support everybody going to the wage study because I don't believe, although our employees are deserving, I don't believe, based on what was actually done in negotiations, that it is financially responsible for us to do. You have our employees deserving, and there are adjustments and such that we're doing and will do to address pay inequities and give folks increases and so on and so forth that for some will be substantial that are still under the wage study. But I think, wage study is one thing, and then the percentages that we did makes our spend more rich than originally I'd agreed to do. And so to approve wage study across the board, for me as one person, I'm not in agreement with it because I don't think it's the responsible path forward. Because there are different outliers and reasons. And then the other piece is this, that when you also think about, our constituents and our residents, one wage study, and this is not about a position, but I'm just talking a wage study. There's one position where the wage study would take a person up $50,000 in 1 year. I can't justify that to my residents, right? Particularly in the county, we don't manufacture anything and so on and so forth. So that's one reason for me that I'm in favor of doing some variations where we're addressing pays, we're being fair, but we're also being financially responsible by way of the county. Because, granted, whatever we agreed to here, we got to go and find the resources for it because it's not budgeted for, right? And we've had those discussions. We got to go, identify those resources or pull it from wherever we're going to pull it from and then do it. So that's my piece in terms of the wage study. So the thought is, so what do we do that addresses those that we think are not criminally low, but just wrong? They're low, like senior services. How do we address those, but also understand most of our department heads are already above the wage study, And so even for those that are above, we're not going back, pulling those resources back either, because that, I wouldn't support doing that. They've already earned it and received it and so on and so forth. So just to your point, hopefully that either at least sheds light to where I'm thinking that when we look at animal control, we look at senior services, GIS, and the other position here, although, you know, it allows me not to give everybody the wage study, which I don't think we should do, but based on the minimum, those are still pretty substantial increases for year one, plus they'll get increases in the years that comes. And then we do all of the other things we talked about. So I just want to address that in terms of the wage study. And again, with the union wages, you know, we ended up agreeing to percentages we did, and I'm not saying employees don't deserve it, because they do, but those union contracts, there are a number of them who have wage scales that are beyond what we even understood what happened. And I don't mean to open that door, we've had those discussions, but I'm saying we have to think of, you know, those are things that at least I'm thinking about where I'm saying, do I want to, and then the other thing is establishing a precedent for future negotiations and wage discussions, where we're saying we do a wage study and we give everybody the wage study. I just think it's not responsible for us to do that. So that's the end of my comments. I just want to speak to the wage study and the variations and where that is. I'm not comfortable doing that for the reasons stated. Any additional discussion, Commissioner
Just
Cousineau
one comment
and
on the
Dr. Brown?
wage, on the wage study is that you're not the only one that, you know, expressed those sentiments about the wage study in the future. And I just want to make it very clear that just because we did it this time to try to make things equal or more equitable, that'd be a better word, that does not mean we have to do it every time. And I will not support doing it every time, because I know how it escalates things. It's a problem that we have in this nation with executive pay.
And
Dr. Brown next.
I'll just add, yes, the wage study is a bit dated now, and we have to take into consideration that our whole economy has flipped upside down. And we still, at the same time, we have aging infrastructure, we have deferred maintenance, we have inflation, we have all these things that are so volatile in our economy right now. We have to double down on being fiscally responsible. And that's why I'm not really comfortable jumping up to a minimum of 101 for all these department heads. That's why I made the proposal of 90 as a floor, because we have to be fiscally responsible. But it's at the same time that is a significant jump to remedy what's happened in the past.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to clarify, just to clarify a couple things. There are technically, if we remember, two wage studies. One was done by the company we hired, and the other was done by our staff, and that was the department head portion, where they went out and gathered that information from different areas. So when you guys had voted, and obviously I voted no on all the contracts moving forward, because I just wanted to like the wage study, and there's several other things that when we get this last bit behind us, I will bring up, but it's very important to understand that. There were two different groups that created the wage study. One was an organization, one was our staff. So what we did for what you guys voted for the unions is very different than what you're looking for department heads also. But I am, like I said, I'm trying to sit back with this and watch, but I do believe, like I said, that there are a couple that 90 just doesn't seem enough, but it's up to this board to make that decision, so we'll go from there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, any additional discussion?
Chairman, I just call for the question.
All right, so the question before us is to establish 90%, $90,000 as the department head minimum, with the caveat that in the first quarter, there will be additional evaluation and potential addressing of compensation. Well, actually, you called the question, there needs to be a vote. Anybody support the call of the question?
Support.
All right, so there's been support, Commissioner Winfrey and Commissioner Cousineau. All right, there's no discussion on that. All in favor of calling the question, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Nay. All right, motion passes. The question has been called. Now, we are at the question. The motion is to establish $90,000 as the department head minimum with the caveat as previously expressed. All right, let's vote. All in favor, indicate by roll call. Are we doing roll call? Okay, a roll call, Madam Clerk. Yes is to support, 90,000 as the minimum. No is to vote against the amendment.
Okay, Commissioner Lloyd,
No.
Commissioner Winfrey,
No.
Commissioner Getzinger,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Avery,
No.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
No.
Commissioner Cousineau,
Well, I mean, I seconded it, I should probably vote yes. It's gonna get turned down anyway.
Commissioner Wayhill,
No.
and Commissioner Flewelling.
No.
I have 7 noes, 2 yeses.
All right, motion fails.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Flewelling.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-2670 as amended.
So the motion is to adopt the resolution as before us.
As amended.
As amended,
as we
as amended.
amended it,
Did we amend this?
We got 2 amendments.
Okay, all right. So as amended, all right, it's been supported by Commissioner Wayhill
To get it on the floor.
to get it on the floor. All right, is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Can you state the amendment?
The amendments were to take out the courts, and the approved amendments, take out the courts and the wages for the undersheriff major and emergency manager.
And remove the elected years 2 and 3.
And, yeah, so there's 3 amendments. Remove the elected years 2 and 3.
All right. Is there any discussion? I have a clarification. Commissioner Wayhill, I have a clarification. I think I know where you're going. You want to ask your question, Commissioner Winfrey? All right. So removing the electeds means that the wage established for the electeds will be the wage throughout the next 3 years. So whatever the adjustment is now will be the adjustment, and there won't be another adjustment over the next couple of years. Am I correct?
Yeah, Crystal, you want to speak on the reason behind that, please?
I believe the commissioner pay cannot be adjusted midterm from what I understand, so we took that out. The other, elected officials, if there was any change during the term, it was included in the budget resolution on an annual basis, to adjust it as the commissioners seen fit.
Point of information, so in this proposal or any of the discussion, there's been no discussion about increasing the commissioner's pay. So I just want to be clear for the record, the Genesee County Board of Commissioners has not suggested or entertained any discussion whatsoever about any wage increase.
Correct.
So I just want to be clear
I
about
just
that.
misunderstood, and we did the same increase in years 2 and 3 for the commissioners as we did for everyone else that was listed on the first round. And then I was corrected that we
No.
couldn't do that, so we just
No,
took it out.
so let me be clear for the record and for the public. At no point during the wage considerations whatsoever has the Board of Commissioners entertained or discussed any wage increase for the Genesee County Board of Commissioners whatsoever at all. There's been no discussion. So if there's been a capturing of any wage increase, it was not from any member of this body. I want to be clear for the public. We have no intentions and have not discussed raising our rate of compensation at all, period. All right?
So are we just talking of commissioners when we say elected?
So we're talking about the co-electeds, which include, yes, co-electeds pay, which we establish and set.
Mr. Chair, if I might.
Commissioner Wayhill.
On the point of our own salary, correct in what you've stated, I think it's also worth pointing out that in terms of our own wage study for county commissioners in similar counties, that we are above the average. And so, in a way, we're being consistent with what we've done with positions that are already above the wage study, that we're not changing our own pay.
Mhm.
You know.
Yes, one addition to that is, in terms of, so we haven't entertained or discussed raising our pay at all. The county commission can vote to do so, but it would not take effect under this 23rd session of the county commission. Any change that we would make wouldn't take effect until the 24th session of Genesee County Board of Commissioners takes their seats in future terms. At this time, again, there's no discussion about making any adjustments whatsoever to the county commissioners' pay. All right. Is there any additional discussion? I have a question. So even for, I just want to make sure that any person, any position captured in this proposal who is not receiving a wage increase, any person will receive the one-time payment. Is that correct? Right. So that's any co-elected who doesn't have an increase, that's any department head, deputy. I just want to make sure that anybody who's not
It's all in
receiving an
there.
increase receives it. Okay, I'm clear.
For the public at home and those in the audience, do you want to indicate what those amounts are?
So the one-time payment for individuals not receiving a payment increase range anywhere between a $500 one-time payment or a $600 one-time payment in lieu of wage increase, particularly in year one. All right, my question's answered. Is there any additional discussion? Commissioner Cousineau.
Yeah, I'm going to be voting no, but I just wanted to explain why. I still think there's some inequities here, and I would like to see more in year 2 and 3. And in particular, some of the inequities, I really think that we should give more consideration to the clerk and the treasurer. I think they're being underpaid in this proposal, but I'll be voting no for those reasons, some others.
I have a question. Where does the public defender fall under that proposal?
He's about a third way down the first page. 15% was what was proposed for him. On the first page. It's listed as Chief Public Defender.
Oh, okay, I see it. Okay. Yeah, I agree with, I'm just ready to vote.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, actually, we called it. All right, roll call, Madam Clerk. A yes vote will be to support what is before us, and a no vote will be to vote not in favor.
Before us as amended.
As amended, as amended. Yes is the vote for the proposal as amended, no vote is the vote not in favor.
With the fringe benefits also, so everyone understands.
So let me,
Yeah.
so I have discussion. I have not considered fringe benefit proposals. Excuse me, let me restate that. What are you referring to as it relates to fringe?
The benefits that this board passed with all your additional union contracts, your time off for maternity, what were some of the others, Josh?
Volunteer
days and so on and
Health
so forth.
insurance.
So we're not,
HSA.
We had the list last week in front of us.
I have a-
You're
I
just
have a
matching,
copy.
you're just matching. what
we're
we
not
gave you.
reducing
Just
from
matching
the.
No, no,
what
it's
everybody
matching.
else
Okay,
is.
okay, I'm clear.
I just wanted to be clear with everyone that
Okay.
that's also it.
Yeah, the original motion has those two components, which I didn't understand, but were clarified.
Okay, I appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure that nothing was included in there that reduces any fringe benefits or negatively impacts anybody in any way. All right, if there's no further discussion, We'll vote, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes in favor as amended.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
No.
Commissioner Kuzno,
No.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
and Commissioner Flewelling.
Yes.
I have 7 yeses, 2 nos.
All right, motion passes. All right, is there, that brings us to the last resolution under Finance Committee. Commissioner Kuzno, any additional information or reports?
No, I really don't. We've spoke enough.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Governmental Operations, Dale Wayhill, Chairperson, Sean Shoemaker, Chairperson, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to defer to the vice chair, given my absence last week.
Thank you. And I will then make a motion, we move items 1 through 8.
Support.
1 through 8?
Hold on, so.
There is no
I
8.
didn't flip the right page. 11, I'm sorry, yes, thank you.
All right, been moved by Commissioner Shoemaker, supported by Commissioner Avery to move as a consent agenda, item 1 through 11 under the Governmental Operations Committee. Are there any separations? Commissioner Flewelling.
Just point of information, I guess. It goes 1 through 8 on the first page, and then 7, 9
Yeah, we missed skip 8.
on the next page.
Oh, wow.
I can speak to that. Number 7, the way that the system, it was a screw-up on our part. You already voted on that in finance.
All right, I will make a motion, we move 1 through 7 and then 9 through 11.
So 1 through 7. There's an 8.
There's 2 sevens.
Yep. The second, number 7, you don't have to take any action on, you already did it. 2584, Resolution 2584.
So we'll move all items under Governmental Operations Committee. It's been supported by Commissioner Avery. Are there any separations? Seeing no separations, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there a report, Mr. Chair or Vice Chair, under Governmental Operations?
No report at this time.
All right, thank you. Human Services Committee Chairperson Charles Winfrey, Vice Chair James Avery.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair,
Chairman.
may I just say something under the report function, if I may, colleague? Just a reminder that everyone on this board owes us evaluations for the 2 direct reports where we adopted those a couple weeks ago. I don't think I've gotten any just yet, but they're not due until the end of this month. And they're due to both, based on the motion, to the chair, Government Ops, me, and Vice Chair, Commissioner Shoemaker. I believe that is it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Will you give? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Mr. Freeman. So we also, I gave everyone 30 days to examine the priorities as drafted over the summer months when we had several study sessions. Those will be on an agenda for a motion and debate and amending and adoption in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Actually, I'll just talk to Commissioner Wayhill about this afterwards. I have some concerns with this since it's been since spring since we adopted those priorities. We have not met since, and I think some of our priorities might have been changed, so. Thank you.
All right, any, Commissioner Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Resolution 252632.
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported by Commissioner Avery. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Report from Human Services, sir.
No report.
All right, thank you. Public Works Committee, Chairperson Brian Flewelling, Commissioner, Vice Chair Commissioner James Avery.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will move items 1 through 4 with any separations.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by the Chair and supported by the Vice Chair of Public Works. Are there any separations? Seeing no separations, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there any, is there a report from Public Works?
No, sir.
All right, any unfinished business?
Next one.
Any new and miscellaneous business?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, you have before you a resolution adopting those volunteer days. We handed out at the last committee meeting a list of places, and it actually does on some of those have dates on them as well. So we just need to get that adopted so we can start moving forward.
All right, what's your pleasure?
To adopt.
Support.
All right, it's moved to adopt. All right, it's been supported by Dr. Brown. Any discussion? All right, I have discussion. My concern is leaving these dates, these locations open-ended for people to just go and volunteer anytime. My concern is how is this going to be managed? How is it going to be tracked, and how are we going to make sure and ensure that our employees who suggest that they're going to indicate that they're going to volunteer on any day of any week and be out of work, how are we going to ensure that that is where they are?
So there will be a scheduler on the website for each available event that has a number of slots that the employee will be able to sign up for. Once those slots are full, it's not just a free-for-all, people can't just go. And then there is that approval process, you know, in the policy where department heads have to sign off on that as well.
Okay, and then what is how are we verifying that? And this question is not about the majority. We have awesome, awesome employees who are responsible and you know, are honest and such. This is a question for maybe the 1%. I just want to make sure that there's accountability.
Yep, so our organizational development coordinator, Jerome, will be coordinating that on behalf of the board office.
Okay, thank you. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Getzinger.
Just a question, will we get kind of like a quarterly report or something, just to see an idea?
We can do that.
How much is being used?
Yep.
All right.
Also, if I can just jump in, if any commissioners have events that they know are coming up in their districts, if you can let us know that so we can get it to the board in time to get it approved so that it's available to employees.
Commissioner Avery.
Yeah, and on that note, I had a great session with Senator Cherry and a few other Grand Lake representatives last week. Great Q&As. So if anyone has one coming up, it's a pretty good piece of dialogue there for our constituents. So, and I thank the Jared and Josh for giving me something to stand on. Appreciate it.
Any additional discussion on the volunteer? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there any additional business before us? All right, any closing comments or remarks? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, thank you. At the last meeting, I asked Mr. Freeman to provide me with a resolution that we passed in the past, Resolution 2023-172 about the Health and Human Services Board, and when we dissolved the Health Board. And I just want to read a section of this because these are the things when I talk about we're not following up on that are not, we pass these things and no one's making sure these things are done or they're getting done. This is the portion of it. Be it further resolved that the medical health officer shall provide a quarterly update to the Human Services Committee of this board regarding operations of the health department, including but not limited to actions being taken to safeguard the public health and safety of the county's residents, policies, developments needed, partnership engagement, and oversight of the health department in the support of Michigan Public Health Code and rules established by this board. The reason I ask for this is because my mind works most of the time, and we pass these things and we ask for this and they don't get done. And this is very vital to us because we did disband that board. And there was a lot of doing things 2 or 3 times, it seemed like, from that board to this board. But there are also very important things, like I said, like communicable disease report, guess what, that we might need to take action on, or we might take a direction different. So this is one that I'd like to see, and I've already talked to Mr. Freeman about making sure it happens, but we've got to, when we pass these, we might want to start thinking of how do we manage to make sure these things are getting done that we've put in place. This is a great policy, but why are we not doing it? And that's something I just want to put in your head, but I wanted to let everybody know, Charles, you should be looking for that. It should be coming to your committee quarterly, and we should be getting a report as the entire board if it comes to the committee, because we're all here. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Josh, for pulling that up.
Any additional discussion? I do have a follow-up comment, but anybody has any comment? So I'll be bringing forth in the next couple of weeks a position, corporate compliance position, just, you know, who would have the responsibility of ensuring that policies that we create are followed. They'd have different responsibilities for evaluating the adherence to various policies across the organization. And then they'd also have a responsibility. They work independent of all of our department leaders and our staff, and they would be responsible for bringing any questions, challenges, violations to the board, to the appropriate committee, so that the commission can track, flag, address violations. And then they also would be responsible for evaluating various policies, writing policies, proposing policies to us to ensure that we are safeguarding, protecting assets, resources of the county, and again, all policies being followed. So look for that as well. All right, any other comments, questions? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 8:03.